Alright, so this would be a pilot, and I will be giving my intro or my pilot into, who I am, what I do, um, what I want to do, and yeah, so pretty much this will be the start of my channel. Um, right now, I don't want to hear shit in the comments about the camera. I know it's an iPhone 10. I need a new fucking camera, but it is what it is. This is free game, so take it or leave it. But yeah. So my name is Min Lee. I played American football growing up in the United States through elementary school, middle school, high school, and through college. And in college, that's where I studied health science, right? And so now I do a mix of some clinical work as a physical therapy technician, and I also do sports performance work, either privately with some of my clients or as a contractor for a facility. Um, and I work, various sports like volleyball, soccer, and then mainly football. That's my main sport. But this would be my intro to how I view things, or what I've done to get to this point of how I think about movement therapy and all that. And if you're interested in this, in either subject, and you're not too book smart or reading, watching podcasts, or just way too boring, trust me, I'm the same way. So if I can do it, you could do it, okay? Because the way I learned all this was really not through school, and it was not through books, not through podcast, like, yeah, I've pulled some stuff from what I've read or from what I've listened to, but really the chunk of what I've learned is from reaching out to various people that are doing exactly what I'm doing or want to be doing. And some of them reach back and we hop on a consultation call, or some of them reach back and, they send me their programs so I could kind of see what they're doing. Or, for me, the best way I learned was by paying a trainer, a private sector, injury restoration type of guy, to take me through a training session. How do you progress acceleration? How do you progress deceleration? What's your take on change of direction? Okay, cool. I will be the subject, because if I'm doing it, it makes more sense to me, right? Because if I'm gonna tell you, for example, and we'll get right into it right here, right? If I just tell you the three main pillars of athleticism is rhythm, timing, and coordination, that makes sense, right? But it still doesn't, because you have no context around it. You don't know where to go with that, right? When I just said those three things, it makes sense. Yeah, that is athleticism, right? Because you've seen people that are uncoordinated, you've seen people that lack rhythm, and whether you can see it or not, but somebody that doesn't really move well, you just know there's a timing aspect with whatever they're doing that just isn't right, So those are the three foundations that I use, going forward. And next would be, when I look at movement, I don't think too much about the sport, who or what, right? Pretty much, performance for dummies is, as long as you're working on their ability to start, accelerate, stop, decelerate, and then change directions, you're covering pretty much half of what they need. The other half would be their sport specific work, which, I don't play volleyball. I don't, you know what I mean? So that's not my lane. But movement wise, I can work on those things with you, regardless of what sport it is, right? And what I just said so far probably simplified a lot of this stuff for you guys, right? Or gals. And the final thing is, when I look at movement, it's not a matter of what drill or what exercise to put them through, right? This is the most important part. It's a matter of the concept, okay? What are you actually working on? Do you know what you're trying to work on? Then cool. If you know what you're trying to work on, acceleration, deceleration, rhythm, timing, coordinate, whatever you're trying to work on, there's a plethora of drills. And you can create your own to work on that concept. And that's why that matters way more than whatever exercise you're selecting, right? Because hear me out. Then the way you select the exercise is a matter of, for me at least, you take the movement and you break it back down, right? So for basketball and for football wide receivers, right? We all know and we all love to see crossover steps, right? Can you juke somebody, right? But when you see people working on it, they only work the steps. They only work the 1-2 or the 1-2-3 without realizing that there's way more that goes into that skill or that movement, right? Because they're only working here. They're only doing the final product. When really, if they broke it down and worked on each individual part and built it back up, that's how you improve the skill, right? Because the actual skill, in this case, is the movement, so synonyms, okay? That requires variability, right? You have to work something in different ways for the brain to actually process and improve, right? So if we're working on crossover steps, right? Okay, start them off with just one. And by seeing them do one, you can see everything you need. You will see, okay, can they actually shift their weight? Okay, how about their hips and shoulders? Are their shoulders going with it? Okay, and what about their feet, knees, and hips? Are they actually able to get in a position where they, not low, but in a position where they can sell the move, Because it's one thing to just take a step, or you could really take a step as if you're really going there. Two different things. You know what I mean? Is it a strength issue? Is it a timing issue with the upper body coming with it? Or is it a mix of both? Right? So those are a few things we just listed. Upper body movement, lower body stability, lower body fluidity as well. You work on those little things, and then you bring it back to that final skill, or actually just working the crossover. That's how you get better at it. But just doing that skill over and over and over and over and over and over again, you're gonna see that's why people don't improve, or they hit this the same way in the gym. Think about this. If I'm doing the same workout routine, I go 3x10 for 4 weeks. No, 4x10 for 4 weeks. 4x8 for the next 4 weeks. 4x6, 4x4. I will get stronger over time, but eventually, what you're gonna see is that's just this type of progression. You're doing this. You're constantly doing the same thing over and over and over again. So then that's why. What do people do to get past plateaus? They either have to, add isometric at the bottom, hold it, or they kind of speed things up, or they go partial range and go even heavier. They're doing the same thing, but they're doing it differently. These are all principles that have stuck around, been around, and will always be around, right? And you don't have to, how would I put this? You don't have to try to be creative to come up with stuff. By breaking down a movement, that's already a couple drills, exercises that you've created in the process of almost dissecting a movement down. There's no facade about that. There's no, and another thing too, now you have your rhyme or reason for that new drill you just created. That's all. That's all, folks. That's enough free game for today. I'll be back.